I've been through all 4 different seasons in the course of 2 weeks. It may seem impossible, unless you are a traveler. What seemed to be an impossible feat turns out to be possible with the help of clear expressions such as stating that the weather is different from each country in Europe. Writing is like traveling in a way that requires transformation from point A to point B because the audience would be lost if the transition process is unclear. I can find so many similarities between traveling and writing since I was struggling to be good at either one. Being a writer is like being a traveler because each will require good organization and clear expression. As I struggle through the course of English 1101, I find that the problems that I have with writing is similar to the problems that I had during my trip in Europe. When I'm brainstorming ideas for writing, it is similar to come up with ideas for traveling. Before I decided to travel to Europe, I had to do a lot of research and planning for the money, clothes, and traveling items that I would bring. That research was the method that I use when I'm writing, collecting thoughts and research for the things to write about. Without planning, both writers and traveler would be confused about what they would do, which create a disaster for the essay or the trip. Clear expression was the biggest problem that I have as a writer because I can't imagine reading in someone else's mind and see if the contents that I wrote would make sense. I learned that I can't just assume my audience knows what I'm talking about without expressing myself clearly. As a traveler, reading a map is common if the map manufacturer assumed that the tourists would know about the transportation routes without adding a key. Then I'm sure that many people would be lost. I chose to analyze 2 different pictures from a TV show called Jersey Shore as my first and second paper. My organization was weak because my writing experience diminished over the long summer. I had trouble on organizing my thoughts because I haven't practiced writing in such a long time, which is similar to traveling as I have no idea what to bring for my first vacation of the decade. I've learned how to organize better throughout the semester, which helps the essay to be more smooth in terms of clarity and building ideas. I learned that the hard way when I failed to organize my belongings during the trip, and I was nervous for the first few days as I thought that I had lost some of my items before I found them hidden deep within the baggage. I tend to make a lot of assumptions while writing because I forgot that only I would know some of the information that is ambiguous to the audience. This relates back to my experience while traveling as I forgot to tell a few of my friends that we have to meet up at a specific spot since I was assuming that they had heard the announcement from our tour guide. I ended up waiting with the rest of the group for half an hour before my friends found us. From that point on, I knew that I had to be more clear about what I said. It was just that I never thought about expressing myself clearly in writing since I only focus on telling. Just like traveling, I can't just make up assumptions as I write. The self-revision exhibits show exactly how I've made assumption which leads to misunderstanding as my professor was confused since some of the information were not presented on the original source. For first few days during my vacation, my tour guide told us to meet back in the same spot after 2 hours every time. I was just assuming that 2 hours was a period that is set by schedule every time, so I would tune out whenever my tour guide is speaking for the following days. One day I missed the announcement that matters, which was a 3-hour block instead of 2 due to the massive French museum. I ended up heading back an hour early only to find out that I was too early. I learned my lesson that I should never make assumption in writing in an essay because misleading information is not reliable. It was difficult to put myself in someone else's shoes because I had to learn it the hard way during my vacation. I often don't see the mistake that I made on writing, just like the mistake that I made when I traveled. My hotel room was a mess, and I don't see it as a problem, just like my messy paragraphs from my essay. My peer review on my classmate Stella Cristoforo's paper for Greece top model was a good example of how I should improve my own paper, as I had to spot out mistakes by proofreading. It is a crucial skill to be able to define problems independently and solve them. My wildcard exhibit is completely dedicated to expanding my definition of traveling. I wanted my audience to understand how traveling may be abstract while compared to writing, but it does make sense when I explain it in details. I hope that a short story about my day in Amsterdam would be helpful to explain how traveling is more than just getting from point A to point B. It is an art that only people with strong observation skill would be able to understand. As a result of getting things organized and having better expression, I'm seeing the improvement that I've made as a writer. I learned that the contents are just important as putting them in the right order. I learned that one truth is more powerful than multiple guesses. There are more lessons to come in the future, and I feel like I've become a better writer after each lesson, and I will continue to look for the little details in places that normal people would have overlooked.